We are red, red is on.
More or less. Shouldn't I open it and undo it? Okay, being 4:50 on June 14th, I'll call the Tilton Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Let's open the meeting with a moment of silence for the passing of Dennis Allen. Are we ready for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, are you ready to do the minutes? You have a question?
No, I asked him, he was running out.
Oh. Bags?
She made bags. She had a whole box of bags, little sort of gift-looking bags.
To sell.
She called them loot bags.
Who did?
Marina,
Marina.
if you were not in your quest and were at the meeting, you would have been apprised of it.
Oh, well, that was nice. Yeah. Why are we buying more uniforms for highway?
Every summer.
It's in his budget, and they're lighter weight shirts.
I thought you bought everything last fall.
I don't think he bought everything.
Waited until not buy the summer shirts?
And they occasionally wear out.
Sorry?
Can you just verify that with her when he comes back? No, while they're on his vacation.
There's a note in there to send one of those things off too that we held.
Yeah, I have that.
We should talk about sending that forward. I don't know
Where's the two other?
the reason why we held that.
I have something to report on that.
Okay.
You have on this page, you have plans for Charlton Monument, $404.80. And then on the next page, it says plans for Charlton Monument, $518.80.
No. It's, there's an invoice for Riverfront Park, and the total of the two is $518.
The total of this and this?
Yeah.
Because it says plans for Charlton.
Yep, but if you look at the
And
top.
this says plans for Charlton.
Yeah, let me show you. The first one is hanging planters, and this is for Riverfront Park.
Right.
So that's the number there. So you can here, see how it says inscription, hanging planters again. That's the inscription.
But
If you look at the check. you'll
That's
see-
not for work, that's not for park commissioners.
No, the top one is not this one.
So why would you have to see?
But it's on the check. This one was charged to town.
Oh, because you gave him one check instead
One
of
check,
two.
2 invoices.
That's the answer. Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, well, I knew how much they cost. Thank you. I'm all set with the manifest, if anybody else is.
Done?
I'm done.
So what's that one that you have there that you?
Oh, this is the check that you were holding for the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, where they're charged to review our hazardous waste.
That's what
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to, so for the minutes. Yes.
It's my handwriting, but I was directed to put it on a sticky
Yeah.
because the board wanted it held.
Yeah.
correct.
And there's an explanation in the check request form. For the past year at least, I've been negotiating with
Well, this is for the monitors.
for the monitoring.
Right, you
And,
were gonna get an answer.
yeah, and I told them that we weren't going to do a groundwater monitoring plan. And that I would get back to him. He wasn't interested in coming up and talking with the board or seeing the site. He said he's familiar with it. And I said, okay, well, I'll get back to you. So at some point, we are going to have to do some well monitoring. I didn't budget any money in the 18 budget because we're kind of pushing it off until next budget. But I did get in touch with the Novus Engineering. They have a whole water quality environmental consulting firm. I've worked with that firm before when we had a petroleum fund project. I'm sorry, yeah, it was a petroleum fund, when I was in Northfield, and it was very inexpensive, and they do great work. So when I spoke to the gentleman, he said, asked me to send him the information, which is that last report and that last letter from Jennifer Martz, and he said he'd put together an estimate for us. And I said, well, it wouldn't be until 2019, but we should get it going with the state, what they're going to require.
So do we have to send this in, or do we go?
We should, because when I asked him about that, I said, yeah, they sent me a bill for the review. He says, yeah, the state does that now. The only thing we could do is I could send DES a letter and say, show me in your administrative rules where you have the authority to charge that.
It doesn't.
I mean, I
I
don't
didn't hear
know.
any of the explanation because I'm down here at the back of me.
So you can't hear me in the,
Well, when you're talking that way and I've got an air conditioner sitting over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The only thing I could do at this time, other than pay it, is just send a letter to the Department of Environmental Services and ask them to send me a copy of the administrative rules where it gives them the authority to charge for the environmental consultant's time to review all of our material.
Yeah, we
On Ernie's.
didn't contract with them or agree to that at all. Not at all. This is something they just, all of a sudden, here you go, here's the bill.
Well, it was all of a sudden, here's the bill, but no, we knew that from prior communications from Jennifer March saying that their petroleum fund was done. There are still monitoring wells that need to be monitored, and they've turned it over to the Department of Hazardous Waste at DES, and that they would be in contact with us.
Our taxes pay for this. I'm going, they're not inclined to pay them, but I'm just one.
I think I find out if we need to pay them, then we need to pay them. If not, don't. But that's what we were finding out, whether we needed to pay them or not.
Well,
They billed us, then
they billed us, they want us to pay them.
Okay.
not
Just 'cause they-
necessarily though. Not necessarily. That's not really an accurate statement. If we,
And they'll give us a,
They're
and they'll
not
give us a
billing us.
discount if we pay early.
usually they bill us for services rendered, and they didn't render us any services.
Well, the services they rendered is that they reviewed the file,
Oh.
and they called us and said, we need to get together and come up with a plan.
Our plan is to discontinue the monitoring. It's ridiculous. The monitoring of naturally occurring substances.
Well, I've mentioned that to them.
They want to soak somebody for money, no, it's not going to be the town of Tilton, that's my attitude. I'm sorry,
Well,
it's, what is,
I mean,
it's the
I know-
article in the New
By
Hampshire
sending
State
this, we're not
Constitution.
agreeing to it though, right?
No, we have to tell them,
Why not
well, they're
ask?
gonna tell us what they want done, and then we'll tell them, we'll appeal it.
Okay, so why don't we get more information? What do you think?
Yeah. What authority do you have to charge us for that?
Ask them to show it in the rules.
Okay, are you ready to do the to be signed things? Oh, they haven't, just minutes?
What's that?
The to be signed is already, that's the manifest.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, we're done.
Good evening.
To be signed. Minutes.
Yeah.
I will take this back.
Mm-hmm.
I've read this earlier. The only thing I had was that under the town administrator resumes, it was under Joyce, Tim, Barry, Gail, Brock, and the chief, correct? Will screen, develop, interviews. You have Joyce, Tim, Barry, and Gail. Page 1. Who's going to do the interviews? Yeah, but,
We're gonna develop the questions, come up with a short list,
yeah.
and do the first round of interviews.
So this is accurate right here then.
Correct.
Right, but has anybody said, I know you've
That's
spoken
fine.
to Brock, but I
As
haven't
long-
spoken to the chief. Have you spoken
I
to the
haven't
chief?
spoken to you.
Yeah, I just
The
figured
way,
the chief would
the
be
way you
involved.
explained it to us last week, it was different. That's fine, I'm good, I'm okay with this.
On the first page under approval of minutes where you've got Selectmen Dots and protesting going into non-public session, could we just put an explanation as to why I protested about going into non-public session? Because it's hanging.
I just like it protested.
It's kind of hanging. People know about
Boy,
it. To be contrary.
Just associating Catherine with protesting,
Yeah.
that's all.
country-minded.
I believe this was,
About the discussion.
this was about, we were going into non-public for employee. And we don't go into public for employee, we go into non-public for specific employee issues, not all blanketed employee issues. So, and I don't remember what I said, but you can glean something from that.
Okay.
You use better words than I did.
Any other changes?
Did Brock want to be in on the town administrator recommend?
He mentioned that he did.
We never discussed that.
He mentioned he was interested, but I haven't spoken to him about it.
I have no problem with
Why
it.
not?
So,
I don't need Brock.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't need that. Yeah, I looked at these earlier, just doing them the second glance. I have a question now. Have we set up, Northfield Selectmen's meeting for us to go over and discuss the taking of the bridge?
No, who's all gonna go?
I'm going.
Yeah,
Okay.
Depending on the night, yeah.
Okay, well, they meet, they have an unusual schedule this summer because they don't always have a quorum. So I'll get their schedule, let you know what nights they're there.
Are they still
On
meeting on
Tuesdays.
Tuesday nights?
They are, but not every Tuesday
I
night.
can't meet second and fourth because of planning.
And then we have the zoning one this month.
Yeah, we have the zoning on this one.
So that's the third, right?
That's the third.
So the
We'll have to do
19th,
the
we
fourth and
can't.
then start in July with the formula.
So June is out.
Unless they meet the fourth Tuesday.
You just said not the second or the fourth.
Oh, that's right. Ah, I'm sorry.
And then the third is the,
Second, fourth is planning, third is the first Tuesday. Okay. I'm available the first and third Tuesdays.
Huh?
Nope.
so if they meet on
I'm
the
only available
17th
on
of
the first
July,
Tuesday.
we'll be there.
What is third Tuesday, sewer or?
Sewer.
Turd.
Third.
The turd
Although
Tuesday.
we start at what?
7.
7. And they, what time do their meetings start?
7.
Really?
They start at 7 o'clock, I thought they started at 5:30.
Probably not.
So it was always 7 to 9.
Really?
Could be wrong.
Hey, John.
So if they put us on at 8, on the third Tuesday, I could be there. Could you be there that late?
Most often.
On which Tuesday?
Third. At 8. Usually we're pretty well done.
We'll see. You got one issue we still have to make sure it gets properly resolved.
Uh-oh.
The last meeting.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
So you are good for the third Tuesday?
If it's at 8 or after. Probably 8:15 would be better. Give me time to get there.
So is that all of you or just the third Tuesday?
I'm talking
I
about
have
going
a sewer
over to-
commission meeting and I cannot guarantee I'm out at 8.
Okay. Have a discussion about the sharing cost of painting that bridge. So the question is, do you want to join? It's Tuesday night.
Back.
On the third Tuesday, I couldn't be there until 8:15. Is that too late for you?
Better. What was the date that we're talking?
Joyce is going to arrange it.
The third Tuesday. And you said after 8, right? Does that apply to you as well? After 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the third Tuesday?
8:15. Usually we get out around 8, we're done around 8. So that would give us time to transport ourselves across the bridge.
Well, hopefully the third one's there so we don't lose the quorum if need be.
That's true.
So we're gonna see if they're free next Tuesday. Because next Tuesday is the 19th.
Well, we have the zoning next week.
Yeah, but that's at 6.
Oh,
It's ahead of sewer.
We'll be busy if they do.
I'll move we accept the June 7th meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve as amended and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Joyce has to decide.
yeah, I'm gonna go through it.
We have any questions on any of the stuff?
I'm just here earlier, I answered the questions for the manifest.
I don't know if anybody else has any more questions.
No, we've already got to it.
I had a couple,
Thanks.
but mostly due to my own confusion. They were clarified.
Okay. Okay, these are from the to be signed folder. This is, we redid a personnel action report form for our communication specialist. the correct way to do, and I spoke with Lisa about this so she knows, is that when someone terminates employment, we have to have a written, something in writing if we can get it, as to why they're terminating, so we can put that in the file. We can't force them to give us something, but we request it. And also there should be, a separate personnel action report form for that resignation, or termination, whatever. And also, her employment status had changed to going to part-time, but we need a separate personnel action report form for that as well, because you want to keep the two personnel actions separate. So that's why we're asking you to re-sign. Now, do you want me to start at this end and go that way?
Sounds good.
So the police department is aware of that. And did you walk in when we were talking about this invoice from DES for the Bernies? Okay. What we decided to do is I'm going to get in touch with them and have them provide a better explanation as to why they're billing us for something that we didn't ask for. I think that's a good way to put it. Okay, the next thing is I just received it, 2 days ago, the Board of Tax and Land Appeal notice of decision with MC&G. And so I had read it, and then today I had an opportunity to discuss it with Warren. And we both agreed that we weren't surprised. I think we did okay. I thought they wrote a good decision. If you have time, I did highlight the important parts and I emailed it to all of you. But as a result, I have 4 abatements that need to be signed. And this is the calculation, so I'll pass.
I did too.
So it's less than favorable.
Did the calculations get revised? Didn't Lauren say that part of what was owed is actually we can recoup on the second billing?
Right, I had asked her about that. Because we got, remember with the other one that we were going through, I said, okay, now. And she said, no, that will correct on the second bill because the warrant was signed and sent out telling,
Sign those, John. No, Catherine got it.
no, Catherine didn't go. The warrant went out, so the warrant said collect $10,000. This notice of decision came in after the bills went out. So that individual come July 1 or whatever date the first issue bill is due has to pay whatever amount he was billed. If he doesn't pay that, then he's charged interest. You get a bill, you pay it. Then come the second issue bill, because remember the first issue bill is just an estimated payment.
Yeah.
It's not based on anything other than what your value was as of April 1st and half of last year's prior tax bill. Then when he gets the second issue bill, it will recalculate and say, okay, it's $20,000, you've already paid $10,000, now you just owe $10,000. Whereas the next one I'm presenting, you had signed this last week, but this we do have to, I had abated the full amount, but since he still had money due on the first issue, he needs to pay what was due on the first issue. So, and I double checked with Cindy, and as soon as she gets this signed abatement, she will issue a new invoice for that, for the balance due. An official invoice from Cindy saying, we've corrected it was our error, we've corrected your tax bill, and instead of $2,157, you owe X number of dollars. That's what that is. Okay, and these next two are, the property was assessed and taxed to an owner in error. So there's 2 things you have to sign. Signing the abatement and a supplemental warrant for the person that was supposed to be charged in error. Now, hold on, let me get this right. Who paid her? They each got each other's tax bill.
We seem to be having more than our usual share of those types of.
I was gonna say that.
This is the first time I've seen one of these in quite some time. This happens this is very rare. This is very rare.
So why are we experiencing
This was a clerical error by one of our staff people. She knows.
There was an error a couple of weeks ago by the staff, by a staff person too. It was a clerical error.
This was, the
Not
one you're
this
signing
type.
is a clerical, is a error.
this? And same person?
No.
Have these people been explained to them the mistake and how many departments this error affects?
Are you talking about this one or that one?
Either one.
Either
Yes,
one.
yes, both people have been spoken to,
Okay.
from different departments.
And they do understand the
Yes.
impact of that mistake. I mean, it causes work for
Yes,
not just
yes,
one, but many.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
But it's two
Well,
different, two different departments,
All right.
and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good.
But the thing is that when errors are discovered, and they're not discovered that often, you can correct them.
Okay.
It's like, it's not the end of the world. So if you do get a chance to read the MC&G one, I want my copy. I emailed it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They made a mistake.
They ma- They made a mistake in it? Where?
There's more than just riverfront between one and the parking lot.
There's more than just riverfront?
That comment, the riverfront lies between Mr. Coxey's building and the parking lot.
Oh, because,
Black Swan Inn is also in between his building.
right,
I have to say that on the strategy.
right. Well, we never resolved that comment that he had made, that, I had nothing with me to prove that he was in error.
No, but they completely discounted the parking. Anyway, but I still have those files.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I would like to get resolved, because that's,
I'll look through them and try to put them in order.
and we could sit down and get that corrected.
When the temperature gets warmer, the whole thing, the price of this. That's why they end up shipping
To saving paper, why don't you just take that one, because I keep the original in the file. All right, and then this is nothing, that's something I have to write them a letter. So that's it for the to be signed. Sorry, Will, I'll keep
You know
hitting
what the New Hampshire Bar Association was?
We pay his dues, yeah.
We pay his annual dues.
It's part of
It's part of
his
his contract.
We resolved the cleaning issue.
So,
We resolved that
Mhm.
dry cleaning issue. It's all set.
race comes on. Okay, this is the FYI folder. Pass that around.
Then you're up next, Joyce.
Okay, signed those two abatements. Hiring procedure, before we do that, just some updates.
Well, wait. Is there the fireworks?
That's just an FYI.
PD's aware.
But isn't there supposed to be a permit? Fireworks?
We do.
We created a whole,
Oh, yeah, we did.
we had the ordinance, and I thought we had a permit in there with it.
It's like $10
Yeah.
or $15.
Yeah.
I
The
thought
ordinance
I'm
should
pretty
state-
sure we created a permit.
Oh, yeah.
You
sure? I think at the end we kicked that down the road.
I thought it was only if it was Class C.
Don't. This discussion got really heated.
There's no fireworks permit on our website with
Does our ordinance reference?
ordinance.
Does the ordinance reference a permit?
Well, let me see if I can get access to it.
In this, just to have the, say, PD is aware, I thought we had a very specific, specific way to go about it, that they were, PD was gonna sign off on it, and the fire was gonna sign off on it, saying that there was ample room that they could have that was the whole reason for having the fireworks.
Somebody has to check the criteria. of the
So
ordinance.
does this person on 116 Winter Street have enough room to have this ample fireworks?
And what type of fireworks?
Let's pop the ordinance and,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking at. I don't see anything about a permit. It's just, it talks about the chief of police.
There was a fireworks permit application drafted in June of 2017.
It's adopted in August 3rd, 2017. And
That
it
was
just,
the ordinance.
and it discusses consumer fireworks. It defines the fireworks. It defines what is exempt. Well, it says what non-permissible are.
Right, and no one under 21. But I couldn't find a permit anywhere, that's why I just.
Yeah, it says no permitting as required by this article shall be applicable to commercial firms otherwise required to obtain permits and authorization for fireworks display from agencies of the state of New Hampshire and who have obtained such permits and or authorizations as required by law. And then enforcement is, these commercial firms fall under 160B3, which says nobody can display fireworks unless they're competent and
We have
has obtained, on page 3, has obtained a municipal permit to display issued pursuant to RSA 160B:7, which shall be in such person's possession and which shall not be, has not been revoked or suspended. I thought that as if they were doing a permitting for commercial.
No.
So we're permitting homeowners?
Yes, to
You
make
can't
sure
do
that they-
fireworks?
Yes, that
To
was the
make
whole
sure
purpose of
they
it.
have, as Pat said, the space that's required by our ordinance to be shooting them off.
Right.
You don't want people shooting off fireworks, even if they're small ones. The house is like
On a postage
10
stamp.
feet from the other house.
Exactly. That was the issue that,
They land on roofs and cause fires,
on cars, vehicles.
scare babies.
Okay, new fireworks ordinance, this is what's on our website. The Board of Selectmen have adopted a fireworks ordinance as of August 3rd, which defines regulations, enforcement actions, and penalties associated with violating this ordinance. Then you click on it, and it gives us the fireworks ordinance, which was adopted August 3rd. But there's no permit attached to that.
Well, somebody's done that in error. We tweaked a fireworks permit. I know we went over it because we had fireworks permits from a couple of towns. We took something out because there was a commercial section in one, and we didn't because that's by law anyway with commercial. So we took that section out, and
Completed application must be submitted 24 to 48 hours. But we never, yeah, it's in Google Drive, but we never, I don't think we ever adopted it or ever.
it got adopted with the
Yes, it got
ordinance.
adopted with the ordinance.
Yeah.
I'm saying if it did, why isn't it with the ordinance
Oh,
on
it should be.
And where's the permits?
There you go.
There's
It,
your sign.
it should be.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
Make
Thank
sure
you.
can we have this person
Yeah.
fill out the application.
This,
Well, do we have an application form?
I mean, I just did this as an
Did
FYI
you-
so you all would know because I couldn't find the permit.
this person needs to know that,
Oh, he's above it, that's.
He's
Not the
commercial.
Merrimack County Sheriff's. So he's trying to do everything above and beyond.
I get it.
But he still needs to fill
But,
out the application.
but he and also, get it ready because Mr. Drew, he's looking for that too. So,
Mr. Drew, I think, is different.
No,
Okay,
No.
we'll get it done then, because the only fireworks permit I've ever seen is from our code enforcement officer, from the person from fireworks display itself.
right, commercial, right,
Right.
commercial.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
different.
Okay,
And that's
we'll look
different.
into this and I'll call them.
That's-
Yeah, I'm still looking through there, but where does it actually say in here? It says the commercial's exempt, but there's nothing that says that you have to go obtain a permit. It doesn't say where to get the permit.
Right.
Has obtained a certificate of competency issued pursuant to RSA 158:9-F.
Well,
Whoever put it online didn't tie them together. That's what's
Plus,
happened.
we did,
Well, I'm in the drive right
We
now.
did. We'll have to go back and look at the
well,
minutes. I
let's
know
take
we
a look
did.
at it next week.
So,
last edit was on July 20th, 2017.
Well, this one's gonna be Saturday, the 16th, so we really need to ask him to have either ask him to have the fire look at his place and see if he's
He's got a field.
adequate safety for fireworks, and have the PD go over and look at where he's gonna have it done. I mean, this guy is right here.
But in here, it doesn't say anything about the fire department.
Okay, let's look at it next week, because we're going rounds and rounds, and Pat has a good point. Let's make sure he.
It doesn't matter whether it's in there or not.
Make sure he.
Listen, we know that it should be there.
can we look at the minutes of August 3rd, 2017? Should tell everything in there.
Yep.
That's when we signed it, and there was something with the permit, information that was on it.
Just put it on.
And-
According to Drive, August 10th is Gail's last modified date. There's an August 3rd with Catherine's revisions, and then August 10th date, so I don't
Is that
know.
the permit or the ordinance?
The ordinance.
The ordinance.
It was both, they were both.
It's
together.
tied together. It's one.
Okay.
The only thing
Okay.
we can do is look at the minutes
Yeah, we can only go
and,
fix it.
and do, research it.
Now, you did all the work on this. Did you save any of your?
I never thought anything away, it's gotta be a mess,
I mean, we've got a huge fireworks folder.
I mean, the minutes would be the official, and I know we
Let's take it up
discussed it.
next week.
Well, the John River Drive it should come up, so I'll research the point.
Yeah, the minutes.
Okay.
I think I just threw mine out last week because I said, oh, we don't need this. Remember?
It's getting into
You gave it to me
fireworks season.
last week. You gave me this big stack with an envelope around it.
You got one. I got a big one.
Okay.
With an envelope around it with elastic around it.
Okay, we received our check from Geico. Catherine, so Parks Commission, go ahead and spend.
Well, if it turns out Public Works is gonna save us hundreds, they're making better.
Right, but this isn't just for the bollard. This is for all of the landscaping work that needs to be
Oh,
done.
that's right.
For Belknap Landscaping. Aren't they your contractor for Riverfront Park?
That's where we got the estimate from.
Oh, I thought they were your regular.
That's who does the work in Belknap. I mean, in the Riverfront Park.
Riverfront, right, okay.
The landscaping,
Yeah.
but do we, is that who we want to do?
Catherine's revisions.
He did some little parts.
Oh, you found the
They just
permit?
met
You did?
Monday night, they won't be again for a month.
And then with Catherine's permission.
Mr. Vice Chair, the Park Commissioners,
You
weigh in
recall.
on this. I said, Mr. Vice Chair, the Park Commissioners, weigh in on this. Aren't you the Vice Chair?
I don't believe so. I'm ex officio.
Oh, that's right, Billy is.
Oh, Billy's the chairman?
No,
Okay.
Vice Chair.
Okay, well, I did copy the Parks Commission on everything with this, so.
Yeah, that's where all the stuff came from, but now getting it done,
What about the concrete pillars?
Granite.
The
Granite
granite
posts?
pillars, yeah,
well, that's just.
Belknap was going to install those. That was part of his estimate, was to install
I think it's
those.
just a matter of calling up Belknap and saying, get it done, it's expensive. I mean,
I mean,
Park commissioners aren't gonna meet until the second Monday of July now,
yeah,
so do we wanna wait until then?
you tell me.
Well, I think it's town property and the Parks Commissioner is okay with using down that.
Yes, all of this came out of the park.
And that was all, everybody's been kept in touch with the whole thing, so if it's ready to be done, we can call the people who gave us the estimate.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I can email the park commissioners and just let them know we received the check. The town, the solicitor is gonna go forward,
Yeah.
the town will go forward and have the repairs done
Yep,
and see what response I get.
okay. Because it'd be nice to get those granite posts put back.
All right, when do they do
Well, have we
that?
even ordered them?
Yeah. I'll do that.
You're gonna order the granite posts?
No, I'm gonna contact the park commissioners to see which,
All right, but you still want me to contact Belknap Landscaping?
no, I'm gonna contact the commissioners first.
Okay.
I have a question under my selectmen's report, so to contact the Parks Commissioners too, so don't send the email just yet.
Okay.
You can ask them at the same time.
Okay.
Catherine. Okay.
You want to ask it now, or?
No, I don't care, it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
All right, we already talked about the TA applications. Tomorrow, from 11 to 1, Gail and Tim and I are going to seclude ourselves and go through them, finalize questions, and narrow down to the first level of screening up for interviews. Okay?
Yep.
So don't call between 11 or 1.
Do you want me to come and answer the phones?
If you're free, sure. Yeah, if you want to, that'd be great. We might even give you some food,
Oh.
but you'd have to eat at the desk. Because we're tying up the lunchroom. Yeah. Okay, carpet's on order as soon as it can be scheduled. Definitely won't be in July because that's the busiest time because they have to get in and do schools, and that's already been scheduled. But not to worry, he said we're a priority. I've established a good relationship with the scheduler, so I'm hoping sometime in August, which would be a good month because it's slow here in the town hall. A few people are like, especially if it's nice weather, it's like, oh, let's go down to the town hall. They don't do it in nice weather like that. So as soon as we get the dates, we'll have enough lead time so I can get the movers and coordinate with highway, with the movers, and with each department on how we're going to move things around. So it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow. Tax deeding is next week. Did you get your notice from Cindy? There's still 3 people on it.
Do you want me to go out to the properties, or the top 2 usually come in? Historically, they always come in.
It
But
didn't one year.
yeah, you're right.
Remember that?
Yes, a long time ago. Yeah, you're right. I would be more than happy to go out on Monday.
For the third one, on the third
All
one?
3. If I go out for one, I go for all 3.
Okay.
But I need a police for the
Yeah.
3rd.
I can't go with you. Gail's out on Monday and I have to be here, so. But you can get the police to go with you?
On the 3rd, yeah. I'll just ask. They'll go with me. Usually Nicole's.
Oh,
around.
okay. And do you have the list from Cindy? Yes, okay. All right. Land use, we've adjusted Sheena's hours, and you're gonna ask me what they are. And I don't remember. I think it's Tuesday,
Did he just adjust the days?
Wednesday and Friday off, so it'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
So did he adjust the hours or just the days?
Just the days.
So the amount of time she works is the same?
Is exactly the
days
same.
change.
That is correct.
Yeah, it's up to them.
Whatever works.
What do you want to do about advertising for the Public Works Department vacancy?
Well, let's have our public works
He's coming in next week.
tell us.
Let him go ahead.
Let him tell us.
Give him permission to go ahead.
So let's find out what he wants to
Yeah.
do.
Okay, so you want to find out what he wants to do?
Yeah, let's have him tell us what
Okay.
he'd like to do.
Well, yeah, because
Does he
he's
want 2? Does he want 1 1/2? Does he want a 1/2 and a half?
a laborer foreman,
What does it
whatever.
want?
Right.
Let's find out.
Catherine had asked me, do you want to address this? This is about Winter Street, the response we got from
Oh.
the state.
I
I thought he was quick to respond.
Funny, I read this and I knew it was you.
Well, I was sitting there waiting to pick up the boys, and I actually noticed showing up, I'm like,
Well, did you see how I started out like, "Hi, Bill, it's me again"?
and noticed that they'd gone ahead and, done that to our sidewalks, and didn't have permission to do so. And when I was sitting in front of the middle school, I noticed they took gotta be at least an 8-foot section, if not 10 feet, section of concrete out on, I guess it's maybe northwestern end of the entrance to middle school. Why they would do that, I don't know. The sidewalk isn't ADA compliant, nor will it ever be, because of the slippery terrain. So why they take out that huge section?
But
It's
in
not
the
even-
way.
Yeah, but every place else, they took out a little, 3 by 4, little tiny. This one is length of this table. So there's no way that I know of that you can adequately connect an asphalt sidewalk and a concrete sidewalk together to prevent them from moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got them all around here.
I know, and I have the same complaint. Why didn't they put them in asphalt? Because they do have plates that will go in asphalt.
Because the concrete lasts longer.
Yeah, so we're gonna end up with trip hazards. I mean, eventually, either water will erode underneath the concrete, and instead of being able to hold still because there's slip rods in there, it'll move, the asphalt will stay where it is, it's much more pliable. It'll heave in the winter,
The concrete will.
the concrete will. The concrete will definitely move more than the asphalt, so you'll end up with an uneven joint or somebody will trip.
So won't that happen out front here?
Yes, it will, that's why I said, so I responded to Bill.
Oh, you did? What did you say?
I said, I'm the selectman, and,
I figured, he said.
gave.
Did you know who you were?
Yeah, he knows me. And explained to him what I just explained to you, and said, if we had been noticed, perhaps we could have had a conversation and maybe used different materials rather than concrete. And I also stated, I swear I couldn't help myself. I should have printed it out. I realized after I sent it, I didn't do the all thing. That I disagree. That I don't believe anywhere in the ADA requirements, it says that the New Hampshire Department of Transportation will go onto property that does not belong to them and make it comply when they have to do their projects. That doesn't even make sense. I'm sorry. So I expressed that to him. He did not respond. But, if we'd had that conversation and had been able to say, look, all right, I would argue the point that they're not required to alter our sidewalks. But if he absolutely insisted, we could have had a conversation, said, all right, they're gonna be ours to maintain. Perhaps we should look to upgrading and not have the cast ones which rust away anyway.
But we had that conversation out here, so why did we go with the concrete and not the asphalt?
We didn't have a choice here.
Yeah.
Oh, they said it had to be concrete?
Yes,
Oh, because that's what they put out for bid.
We are
Okay.
wiser now.
right, and also we
Could
took a
have
portion
said.
of it out when we
Could
did
have
the
said, look,
sidewalk.
you're gonna touch our property, then you're gonna do it in asphalt, or you're not gonna do it at all. I would have said, show me where it says you have the right to alter someone else's property because of your construction, where you're required to. They're not.
Is there anything we can do now to make that transition better for our sidewalk?
It's done. It's just something eventually, sometime in the future, you're gonna be addressing it. Probably the only way to fix it is either spend a lot of money and make them all concrete, or just take out the concrete and replace it with asphalt. And then you won't have that. That's gonna be small thing. But, now he's notifying us after the fact.
Well, he admitted there was a mistake. But see, they must put these things out to bid like way ahead in advance and list the specs for concrete. So we could have still
We
changed
could have
it.
stopped it.
This next road construction bond, this is just for you to mull over. Dari had come to me with, and Catherine, you're probably more familiar with this than I am because this was recently before the planning board, where there is a developer who's going to be putting in a private road. And the planning board had granted some waivers to our subdivision regulations, which they have a right, because they can grant waivers to the regulations, so there's some things that they're not meeting in the regulations, a certain radius, turns, and
Width of the road.
width of the road.
And we
Okay.
granted those waivers because we were assured it would be a private
Private
road.
road, okay.
There's one little thought, or not thought, but information. I'm surprised.
I top off.
And it was discussed Tuesday night as well. In their declaration, they have a statement in there that lets the residents know who purchase in this property that they can petition to have that private road become a municipal road. So we felt that it was misleading. We felt that there needed to be language in there that explained to them that there were waivers given that makes it non-compliant to the town's ordinance on what a town road should be. It hasn't been added yet, but I believe it will be. And that's very critical, because I
True.
do believe it's misleading.
But
And
they-
we did grant those waivers because we were assured it would always be a private road.
Right.
It's
But-
not a case of just asking, turn it into a town road. It's get it up to par.
Right, and thinking that through, that at some point, they could come to the town or go to town meeting, come directly and just say, we want this to be made a town road, and the selectmen can say, well, that's all well and good, but you have to bring it up to town standards. If you want that to happen, the people vote for that, but you, through a betterment assessment, are gonna pay to bring it up to.
So I think
30%.
in our road book that we should put in that private road. And so that people that come after
Oh, yeah.
us will know
Yes,
what took place.
yes,
Why it doesn't meet standards and why the planning board did what they did.
right.
Because it really shouldn't ever be accepted as a,
Is it
Town
road?
road.
Right.
And chances it ever would, because the board would deny it, they can go to town meeting, but what are the chances that town meeting is going to approve it?
probably slim to none with a good explanation from your public works director and your board of selectmen.
But anyway, what we're bringing to your attention now is because selectmen are really the ones in charge of the roads. So we want to make sure that they do build it to town standards with the exception of those two waivers. So we can require a bond. And I don't know who proposed this, if it was the developer, but I guess what he wanted to do was just post enough of a bond just so that he could get in there. Once you post a bond, he could go ahead and record the plat. And once the plat's recorded, he can start selling lots. And then once he starts selling lots and giving deeds, he can go out and start constructing the road. So you can do that in phases. And this explains the way to do it. And it would be nice if the board could think about this so that when the time comes, and I do have a good template for a bond that we should require for performance bond, where,
Full performance bond.
or partial, that protects the town, and that the only way that that bond can be discharged is upon the signature and approval of the town. If you're not satisfied, the company cannot release that bond.
The third-party review engineer is the one who recommended to the planning board that we require them.
Okay, that's where it came from, okay.
The engineer also suggested
and he did suggest amounts.
I believe so. There were a lot of documents I read Tuesday night, but I'm pretty sure I read that. I'd get it from Larry. He'll know better than I. So this is homework?
The only experience I've had with letting someone build before the plan is recorded is South Park off of Route 140. It was a Cormier. He had a North Park and a South Park. And he went in, he built the road like 20 years ago. The plan's never been recorded. There's a road that has been there that is just like, has never been inspected or, they've never offered it to the town. It was supposed to be built to town road standards. No bond was in place.
Where is this?
Off of Route 140 at South Park.
Okay. We've had a couple of bonds for different projects.
So all they'd have to do is just post a site restoration letter. Well, they're getting closer to, have they been granted final approval yet? This will be coming before the board as to what you're going to
They're
require.
not coming back before the board until I think.
Yeah, it was continued, right? No,
Yeah,
it was continued.
I don't think it was the 2nd of June. July. I think it was the 4th week in July, I think.
So just if you can be thinking about this, so when it comes before you, you'll know what you want to do. It's been a long time since somebody's built a road, huh? And this is a reminder to me that I forgot to send the invoice for half of the electric bill. I better do that right away, so we can at least get that. And that's all I have for this week. Oh, hiring policy. Yes. You have some changes, Catherine? You?
Oh, thank you.
I thought we did all, no?
I gave this down, I hadn't really finished reading it, and, she was gonna put it in an outline form without those changes, and, I read it again. And you just took half one down, pass the rest down. I just felt it needs to be more specific. It needs to be more, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and without any guessing.
So is this, what you just passed out, going to replace this? Or are these additions?
Either way you want to do it.
You should have it as, you should be looking at a draft number 2. It was the last one that the board received.
All right, so what is this though?
That's my suggestion
Oh,
for a
okay.
higher policy.
To kind of incorporate it. Got it.
I have incorporated, I think, most of Joyce's. The only thing I did is at the end, I made a blanket statement about the police department. The police department will follow this procedure while including those hiring procedures required by the New Hampshire Police Standards and Training, which may include, but not limited to, oral board interviews, polygraph tests, physical fitness tests, and other.
Aren't you redundant when you say may include but not limited to and then end with and others?
Probably. I just didn't know if I should.
Get rid of one or the other, I would say.
Well, thank you.
Get rid of and
That's why
others.
I'm hoping you guys will fix it. So,
The very last.
physical fitness test period.
Very last.
The highlighting, I did because I repeated it in a couple of places in here, just because Amy, and,
Is it, you have, in the police department, you have the oral boards, the polygraph, the psych tests, the physical tests, and then you have your interviews, so
Right.
you're missing the psych test.
well, I didn't list them all, I said may
And
include
others.
but not limited to.
So I would say et cetera, yeah.
I mean, we can add them all if you want.
No.
This is just my suggestion. But where it says the posting shall run until the position has been filled or the board of selectmen's discretion, I'm borderline.
You said desecration.
Worship. Desecration, oh, it did, discretion. I love spell check. Not.
So are we gonna implement this verbiage into this format?
I don't know.
No, I like this format
That's what
here.
I mean, are we gonna take Catherine's and put it into this format?
We haven't even read mine yet.
So I need 6 references to apply.
I think so. 3 personal, 3.
I think if we do both personal, it should be non-related.
I think it's way too many,
What's on our application?
probably 3.
We'll have to look.
My guess is traditionally it's just 3.
That's the standard.
Yeah. So what?
Make it
No.
whatever we want.
No, the standard is 3 business and 3 personal.
Yeah.
I just got hired and they asked for 3 business and 3 personal. That was a year ago. That's
That's what our application
I haven't seen that.
This job I've applied for was always at least 3 business and 3 personal, not related.
so, yeah, no relatives, right? It's pretty much the. I'm trying to, you're kind of saying, if we go from one paragraph to the first paragraph, filling vacant positions, the department head will notify the town administrator when the position becomes vacant or additional staff is needed. The notice will include the position that is vacant, hours, shift, reason for the opening, essential job function, and qualifications and current pay for the position. So,
I just wanted the steps of
You-
hiring to be very precise.
so you're taking it before you get to the hiring process. So Joyce started with the search process, which means, here we go, we're gonna go to the search. Now, we've already gone, but you're taking it from, the department head will come to us, they'll say, somebody's leaving, I need to go out and look for somebody.
I think that part was left out of,
Okay,
no,
okay, I'm
What
okay with that.
triggers it?
yeah, I think, that's what I mean, I didn't want any gray areas, I didn't want any guessing. And the way I wrote this, takes the selectmen, except for the, the final decision and the pay amount, it really takes the board of selectmen out of a lot of it. It leaves it up to the department head and the administrator.
Do we have a approved application?
We do. I was just looking for it online.
Should we have that? Tremendously. That we should state that it shall apply on the approved application only?
And it should be in the job application.
So that nobody,
Yeah, so instead of getting somebody's,
there's certain verbiage
Yeah.
of, fraud or misrepresentation, etc.
well, and there might be information required on ours that isn't required on something they might pull off the internet.
I know we've used the standard forms a bunch of times too.
So, the department head will post it, town administrator, department head, will give it to town administrator to post.
Well, I was trying to make it so if the department head needs to have a vacancy, let's make it their job to hire instead of piling it on to the administrator. But, I don't care.
Yeah, they don't do the posting.
Yeah, they don't do the postings, we do the postings.
And that's fine.
Make up the,
But why couldn't they?
I guess the decision on where they're gonna post it. what
I
it's gonna
spelled that
say.
out in here too. They don't get to choose that.
Post an advertisement for the town's website, NHMA's, town, city, and other printed or electronic media that does not charge a fee.
And then you'll see if a posting or charges fees deemed necessary, then the permission from the Board of Selectmen must be obtained.
That's what we do now.
Pretty much.
Decide what you got.
Yeah, the only thing I was just trying to do is, have a department head, and I need an employee, it should be my job to do as much as I can to get that employee. That means posting and collecting all this information, and I should do it, rather than piling it on to the town administrator. But if you guys think it's better to keep it at the town administrator, and the town administrator thinks that, I'm
I think you
fine.
do, because you have to make sure that if we are ever sued, we have to be able to go, like right now in our file drawer, with the exception of the police, because I don't have any of the police's, we've got every job search we've ever conducted since I've been here, and the applications and how they were disposed of, who was interviewed. And, I mean, we really only have 3 departments.
That's fine.
So,
It's on this equal opportunity employer.
Yeah.
rule.
so just keep it with the,
Because we keep all the information for postings and
Right.
we keep track of, so it should be up to the department head. That's why, so the administrative
Yeah.
assistant to.
yeah, we keep all that, so, yes, the department head,
Rest of it.
yeah, but at what point do you want to talk to the department head to, I mean, you want them to go to the department head to go to the town administrator and say, I've got to hire more part-time people? I mean, that just doesn't happen. I mean, they come to the board and say, this is what we need and why we need it.
Right, well, we meet every Thursday night. Sometimes we don't meet on Thursday night, that's weird. So, they go to the town administrator on Monday and say, I've got a vacancy, this is it. Do they really need to come in Thursday night and tell us to, or can't the town administrator convey that?
No, because you have to approve it. That's why I have in here that nothing happens until the selectmen have
But
reviewed the
we're gonna
job
approve
description
it.
and approve, yeah, you can go ahead and put it
Regardless
out.
of who brings us the information, we're
Yeah.
gonna approve it.
Yeah, but aren't you gonna have questions of that department head of why, like with Brock, about what he wants to have to refill the position?
And if he wants to defend his case, he'll show up, but does he have to? Maybe to the town administrator to do it?
No, I see the town
It doesn't say
administrator is
he
making
can't
sure that the
come.
process is followed.
It doesn't say he can't come.
Yeah.
I don't see that your input that you have here, I think it's just adding steps to it on yours here. So it's not taking away from the process in any way. I think it's just adding to the process here. I think what we should do is have you just try to incorporate what Catherine is trying to portray here in her additions.
Right, but, I mean, we're,
into your.
right, but I understand that.
If you think it should be changed to Board of Selectmen, make the change.
Well, it's just that starting with the search process,
Mhm.
department head, don't even waste your time until you come and meet with the board.
Mhm.
They're gonna go do all this work.
Well, I kind of agree with you, because there have been times that we've said we're not gonna backfill that position because of budget, for whatever reason. We weren't gonna backfill that, so we ought to check with us first. And I agree with that.
And also,
that
it's
we
like maybe,
should check with us first, but then go ahead and do it.
but also, when you have someone leave, not only do you wanna look at the job description, well, okay, now maybe that's time we should talk about doing something different. I mean, this is just keeping going on with status quo, and you wanna make sure that, can we be doing something different?
Reorganize.
And I think that deserves a conversation, it just happened tonight, when, okay, guys, what do you wanna do about refilling that vacancy?
Yeah.
We'll talk to Brock and see what he wants to do, okay,
Right.
but no matter what, we're gonna come talk to the board before we're gonna write a job description,
Right.
change the job description, have a job notice going, and talk about, well, where's the best place to try and recruit for these things, because if it's a public works position, you're gonna go through INET, they have their whole board. See, I think the search process all starts
So I
with the
think we're all
selectmen.
saying the same thing, though.
Yeah, but if you start here, it's like, it's the department head's gotta go through all these steps of doing all the paperwork, and then come to the board. I think you need to come to the board first and say, let's take a look at this, so-and-so's leaving, what do we wanna do? Here's an opportunity, or status quo.
Well, isn't that what you have under yours, the search was?
Yeah, it starts, prior to anything, start with the,
The board and the department head shall review the current position's job description and ascertain,
yeah,
all the script. So basically what you have here is what Catherine's saying here.
Only I just said added a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
that you want the department head to prepare the job description, go over it with the select.
He's not gonna prepare the job.
He's not gonna prepare the job
He's gonna
description. We've
review
already
it.
approved the job description. He's gonna make sure that there's any changes in the job description that he should alert us
Recommend
about.
any additions or changes. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So, you know, you have a job that he's got out there now, that a laborer, a trucker, or whatever, that he's gone in a different direction last year, that job might change in the description.
I want someone that's got building maintenance skills.
Exactly.
There you go.
Maintenance.
Some
Right.
construction
We could ask
background.
somebody with
Right.
fertilizer
anyway.
certifications or something.
Okay.
One of the changes I also made in mine is I added that, not just for a CDL or a health certificate for driving I forget the GVW, but I think that anybody applies with us should have a drug test. I really do.
That's standard. We should.
Well, we've never done that. We've only required it for a health card or a CDL.
It's like $75 or something.
I don't see those invoices anymore. Do you? Have you seen them?
We haven't got that since, we have to go back to what side.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's
you
what we
really
want.
need to have a drug test for employees.
Yep.
Nowadays, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Second page somewhere.
If we had known, we would have had one for you, Gail. No, I'm just kidding.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, I'm not,
Yeah, but there's a lot of
They
things
gotta
in
be
here
on
that,
something.
the Board of Selectmen reserve the right to interview any and all applicants.
We do anyway.
well, and I copied that from Joyce's, I didn't.
Yeah. And after the interviewing process is complete, the interviewers will discuss the applicants and choose a final applicant.
And mine doesn't have a written offer, it has an oral offer of employment. Until they pass those things, they have to.
Yeah, but you can't get them to sign something unless they put something in writing.
Geez, I had 5 years ago, back time flies, I don't know what it was.
I
I
know.
had 4 different jobs
I know,
offered
but
to
we're a
me.
municipality, we're a town,
And
we're an
I
open target to
had
be
to sign, if I wanted the job, I was truly interested in it, and I orally had been said, yes, we'll hire you, but you need to do this first.
No,
So you're telling me that if somebody is truly interested in the job, they're gonna insist on it written before they go through that.
That's been our practice, Catherine.
We have a lot of practices that have been our practices that aren't the practices.
I was hired just a year ago, and they made an offer, and I had to sign the conditions. This is what it is. Upon these conditions that are met, we'll hire you.
Yeah, no,
And I had to sign it, and that's how it was.
they have to sign something,
But
because
it's
we have no
not-
right, but it's their privacy.
They're aware.
But they're aware
We
of
can't
that.
even have their social security number.
Well, it's for their
Until after
protection
they're
because
hired.
it tells
they
you
sign.
that you've offered them employment under these conditions. You will do this, this, this,
I
this.
understand that, I'm just saying, when you tell me it's standard practice, I'm telling you it isn't, because I've experienced it, that it isn't.
In large
But if
corporations.
you want it
yeah.
written, that's fine, I'm not so concerned about that.
If the candidate accepts the verbal offer, the department head will immediately send an offer letter and new hire them. But that, it's contradicting what it says above, because if you're making a verbal offer, the contingent upon satisfaction, yada, yada. If the candidate accepts the verbal offer,
Jason fixed that.
So you gotta discuss what the person wants. Wages and then verbally.
I think some of it is
And then after that,
redundant
you
to what's
draft
already in.
That's because I took what's in there
Yeah.
and put it in here.
So I think you can just take a look at this, Joyce, and just take some of these, she's just elaborated on what's in here and made it more very specific, this is what you'll do. Some of it I really agree with. And then put it into yours, into your format.
Okay, the department head will contact the final applicant. Again, we're talking highway and public works. Selectman's office should make those contacts.
Right,
And that's fine, like I said,
that's
I'm
okay.
not,
Yeah, it should be town administrator to do that.
you know, when I said that we need to review our hiring policy, this is what I had in mind.
Right, okay, well,
Stiffening it up, but like I said
right,
to you, I have
basically,
every faith that you're gonna make it.
what I wrote is everything that we do now that's according to
And I want to do
oil.
more.
And you just want to do more, which is adding 3 references.
Well, specific, 3 business, 3
I
personal.
vehemently oppose a verbal offer.
And that's fine.
can't do
Then
that.
make it a written offer.
There's something about that. The town of Tilton application form, does that require 3 personal and 3
No, but we can make it,
business?
we made it our form, so we can add that.
So I'm wondering if.
What
we
does it
put-
now?
Just 3 references.
3 references only?
Yeah.
what we'll do is we'll get copy of the job application, we'll implement what Catherine's done into one form, polish it, and bring it back as a third revision, and then we can finalize it. How's that?
One thing I was wondering about that is if we put, instead of putting that you should have 3 business and 3 personal references on the procedure, put on the procedure that the application must be filled out in full, and then on the application request that.
Well, this is for us to follow. And might not necessarily have the application. So that's why I wanted it in here. So there, it's telling the department heads, it's telling town administrators, and it's reminding
To be
the
consistent,
selectmen.
right,
Yes, so that we
Right.
don't deviate from the plan.
exactly.
And I agree with you, references should say not personal,
Or not
not,
related.
not related.
Not, it's not related.
We should make sure that
I think
in the
that's-
procedure, it should say that the application must be filled out in full.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, we have, that's standard procedure, we have to have that application on file.
And then, but I mean, that every line is filled out.
Correct.
You know, if you're convicted of felony,
Yeah.
all those things.
All right. So that's what we'll do. Take it easy.
Yep.
Get me.
And what Joyce has been doing too is she's been updating the job descriptions. Now that it's eval time, we're gonna have to give them a copy of the job description.
Which the board had approved a year ago. And in fact, what I should do before I leave is I will email, well, let me just give this to you. Here's the minutes. 2 meetings that we had. Here is what was presented to the board on May 4th. We went through it and the board said, Joyce, make it, there's too much duplication, clean it up.
This was a year ago.
That is the old one. These, okay, and then this is the one replacing that, and I've looked at every single change from revision.
Relevant that you do
And
now.
I'll be glad to explain why everything is, no, that's for you. I want you to review that
Oh,
before I go any further. The planner's ones, there were no changes. The land use technician, it's just making sure that we're using the same language when we're describing what the physical requirements
are
are.
you sending this to all of us?
I will, that was,
That was part of our old business that was on there from last April that we never finalized.
yeah, and then we got on my desk, and it's like,
Yeah,
you better do evaluations and everything.
all right, and that's land use that you just gave Catherine?
No, building inspector, that was really the only one that needed to be
Oh, got it.
clarified, because
So, right,
it was a
right,
little
right, got it.
contentious, but
Mhm.
it was a difficult one to try and
Right.
do because we were creating a new position.
Yes, you're right.
And Brock's revisiting his job descriptions because we don't have heavy truck drivers.
Mm-hmm,
We just have truck driver laborers or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So we need to be consistent with our highway job descriptions.
Well, except for you got 2 tiers of trucks, you got CDL and non-CDL there
Correct.
still.
Yeah,
Correct.
well, we have heavy and light, that's what they were, was heavy and light.
Has Brock assisted in those job descriptions?
He has those, yeah.
But has he assisted
Make sure everything
in the
is-
descriptions, in writing them?
Yes, I gave it to him. I said, please, go
It's gonna be-
how they changed.
Good.
What we have on our website is so out of date,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why now we're trying to get more documents updated as we go along.
Well, I think the last time we did them was when Sandy,
2009.
with Sandy was here.
2009,
Yeah,
we updated the one for the light equipment operator in Jackson.
yeah,
On training. So we're getting there.
yeah.
More with that, Mark, to do, yeah.
All right, selectmen's
And we still
reports.
have the employee manual to do.
Yeah, but that's easy, that's just a few things, changes that they've made.
Right, we just haven't.
But what I want to do is I want to be able to cite when the change was made, when
But the
the
employee
revision took
manual, though,
place.
we hope that the sewer commissioners are gonna come in on that as well. And, right, see where the two mesh and, or don't mesh, and see if we can't come to a resolve on that. I hope someday we can do that. That's our goal. Okay.
I'll be downstairs, so if it comes up.
Selectmen's reports. And the first thing we have is Old Home Day float. I'm gonna stick around for that. This is your last Old Home Day.
You gonna ride in the
parade.
parade with us?
We're going to have you up on the top.
I don't know, I mean, I would love to, I've ridden before.
June 30th.
Did I read the email that said the truck's not available because we don't have anybody to drive it?
Rob's gonna drive it, right?
He doesn't have the license to drive the big truck.
That's why it's the
No.
550.
The 1 ton. It's
That's
not the
why.
big truck, it's the
Right.
1 ton.
It's only 1 ton,
Yeah.
yes, but we usually go in the dump truck,
Mhm.
which is bigger.
But we don't
Uh,
have anybody to drive that.
Bigger body to put people in.
Yeah.
We went in the,
We
one,
didn't have the 1 ton last year, we only got.
We've been running in the
A
Peterbilt.
while ago, we can go in the big truck.
We have a nice trailer. And a new truck and a nice trailer that's got a rail around it too, doesn't it?
we do. We have the trailer.
Possibly.
Yeah, so have
Depends
to
which,
know they have
well, it
to
depends
adjust
which
it.
trailer they,
The trailer.
Check with the trailer.
depends which trailer.
Because there's not
They
enough
got the low bed one for
benches
the
to drive.
backhoe.
Oh, I want to go want to be in a little bit, do we?
No,
It's not,
not with kids.
The railing on that trailer is not gonna be that much
No,
either.
it's low.
I would not put kids on the trailer.
With the benches we had, if they put the benches on it, they're heavy enough to.
Not on the trailer, it's too low, they can get out pretty easy. I would,
So who's gonna be in there for kids?
Well, it's usually our own.
Who's
Yeah,
in
mine
there?
are drones. I mean, there'll be fewer this year because
So it's usually,
you're younger
I
adults.
pick a kid that, someone in the town or something, so it's usually, I ask
And
Tim's,
they bag out at the last minute, they don't show up for you.
usually, last year they came.
Well, I guess we just
Shelby's
gotta-
girl
you
came
just gotta
last year.
decide what you're gonna do so they can get on it, because Lee's not gonna be here. And that's why he was asking, so highway knows what to do for you all.
And John's not gonna be here?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, let's do 1 ton in the trailer with the rails,
1 ton in a trailer with the rail,
the benches on it,
with the benches, yeah.
and
Bench
I'm a little
can-
confused.
benches where? On the
Why does the
550
trailer-
bed or the trailer?
On the trailer.
Well, then you guys can, I'm not gonna be participating.
We can do the 1 ton and just put the,
In the bed of the truck,
in the bed of the
where
truck.
they can lean so they don't fall over. You
Oh,
lean,
put it-
that railing is too low on that trailer. That trailer is to haul lawn equipment,
I know.
so it's not that high a bar, rail on it.
not that high.
I have a similar trailer.
Off the ground maybe, but you've got the trailer coming up. It's probably, I don't know, 18 inches or less.
Yeah, there's
About
a
knee
18 inches maybe.
18 at
I don't
best.
think they come to these, do they?
No, that's,
I know Mark's done. It's very similar trailer. So put them in the back of the truck and, well, why can't we put them in both and let's not have, let's just not have young kids on that trailer?
I was just gonna suggest that, let's just
So
not
what are
do.
you gonna do for a float though? I mean, what's your idea? What do you
We're
want
not
them
gonna
to
do a float, just do selectmen, that's it. No
Well,
float.
they like to decorate it, but
Well,
I
that's
don't
what
get the
they're trying
flower
to, that's what
power
they're trying to
theme.
determine. What do you want them to do?
Having lived through the 60s
What
and
is the
70s,
theme?
that theme
Flower
is
power, 60s,
associated,
70s.
but that theme is associated with
Tie-dye.
the Vietnamese War.
I know, but tie-dye,
Isn't it Ginsburg that came up with flower power? Do you remember the flower in the gun?
Janis Joplin.
Well, that wasn't flower power. So what are we talking about flower
Can,
power?
at some point, stand up.
Is that the
This,
I mean, I think it's
official
old and
theme?
gone.
Yes, the official theme is flower power.
So
That's all I have.
Get pictures.
So you all have to decide what, as selectmen, you want to represent in your float with the truck, so highway can decorate.
psychedelic.
Put bread all over the truck.
You know, you want to have them make, you know, this is selectmen's float, but the highway always ends up doing
We
whatever the selectmen
misunderstood.
want to be done. So decide
I
what.
say, look, this.
I don't wanna waste a lot of man hours coming up with a float. It's wasting taxpayer
Okay.
dollars.
So
Let
let's
Public
just have the
Works,
truck.
let's have Public Works do whatever they want to do. Let them do their thing. We'll just ride in it.
Okay.
Tell them to decorate it
Yeah,
and,
do what they want to do.
They're creative.
Put
You
some
know,
palm trees
I
on it.
suggested that John should
Blades or
go buy, you all should go buy some wigs. I might even have one from a Halloween, just long, and so you can all wear long hair.
Now you're talking hippie. It's not fall.
All right,
And
so
where's
let highway do what they
the
want,
mattress?
decorate, selectmen will just ride. Joyce and I are gonna do candy next week because she's gonna be out the following week, so we gotta get the candy
yep,
next week.
candy. So if we're not having children,
So no benches in the back of the truck.
yeah, we're gonna have benches in the back. No,
They're
we're not gonna fit. Okay, we're not gonna have benches in the back.
We're not
No,
gonna
we're not
do
gonna
that.
do the trailer. We're just gonna do the 1 ton. It's just gonna be the 4 of us, because Ashley, probably 5. She said she didn't know whether she was gonna go or not.
So we'll see.
So it's gonna be the 4 of us at
Yes.
best.
That's, I mean, who's gonna be? John's not
Well,
gonna
we
be
have to,
there.
he can decide. No guests, yes.
Catherine's kids or,
Well, they're not kids now.
well,
I thought we were gonna pull the trailer, not have kids in the back of the truck.
And have kids in the trailer? That's even worse.
I don't have kids, I have young adults, they're teenagers. I don't have toddlers. I don't
Cub
have-
Scouts has stopped that because of,
For the decorated, easier to decorate the truck than decorate. You have to have more stuff on the trailer.
What's they're not gonna bring the Peterbilt, and we really don't have much room in the Peterbilt, then they should pull both, pull the trailer and the one.
But you don't have room in the Peterbilt because you got the benches in it.
So we'll ask the chief to drive the Peterbilt.
Is he a CDL?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Chief,
yes.
does he have a standard certification?
He has a school bus certificate too.
Is
When was
the
the
Peterbilt
last time you
standard?
drove
Why
one?
don't you drive it?
I don't have a CDL-A. I have a B.
Yeah, that's a standard in the Peterbilt, correct?
You don't want me driving a steamer.
And does the chief have
Or
a
does it split
certification for driving a standard on the CDL, or does he only have automatic?
What do they do?
I think we just put the 1 ton in the trailer.
But what are we gonna do for decorations in the trailer?
Let the public works figure
They
it
don't
out.
have a lot of money to do anything
Well,
really, and if
they
they just,
they don't do anything.
So John is we
John
absolutely,
goes away for the weekends, he's not available.
we absolutely know that.
Absolutely know that.
Okay. So, and we absolutely know that Rob can't,
Yep.
we know that,
Wyatt can drive, but he can't, not that truck.
not that truck.
So Rob is the only one.
Is Kevin available?
No,
We know that for
no,
sure.
not for sure.
None of them are available. The only one that is can't drive the truck.
And Rob can drive the truck. Rob's the only one available to drive the truck.
So we've established that we can't drive that.
Even if it was not volunteer, right?
He's not
Rob can't drive.
properly licensed, is he?
No.
I'm thinking of Kevin, even if it was not a volunteer. Even if it was work.
I don't know that answer.
Okay.
I should have to talk with them. Brock's coming in next week if you want to talk to him, but that only leaves him a week.
Well,
Well,
I would ask
they're
that
not
question, I would ask that question first, if the two of them that are licensed to drive, if they're available to work that morning to drive the Peterbilt, so that we can drive it. The police get paid to drive in the parade. We could do
We'll
that.
ask Brock next week.
That would be my first one, and then we'll go with the 1 ton, and then no children. And we'll go from there.
Do we close the public work facility for that day? So they're used to having somebody work that day.
But it's probably one that doesn't have a license.
Well, it
Scheduled that
rotates.
day.
It rotates.
Yeah, it
Okay, so-
rotates.
So they might be able to swap out their days.
Rob did say he wanted to close
Yes.
that Saturday.
Yes, we
I'm gonna go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of flowers.
You'll figure it out. Well, here comes the next long discussion about the class 5 road, one strong approachments.
We already said yes. Didn't everybody say yes? Take
But you
them.
didn't decide when
Yes.
you were gonna go out.
We already said yes, and we already said we didn't really need to go out. We already had gone out and already had,
But at the public meeting, you all had
he
said.
asked us if we would go out
We
again.
never said yes we would, did we?
Yes, you did,
I
before the
didn't.
4th of July.
I didn't.
I said I would go out individually, and I've gone out already and looked at it again, so,
When the guy came in.
Well, Mark Conley came in and he wanted to know what is the next step and what's gonna happen. Are you taking the encroachments back? He's not gonna be
Yes.
here, you are.
we are.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, because it wasn't bid, the project wasn't bid with the encroachments.
That's right.
It's
So-
just going over what was existing.
So the contractor, so Brock needs to be pulled into this to see how much he can do as far as removing stuff that they've done.
Right.
And the contractor needs to have that conversation with Brock, who's gonna do what, and then the contractor's gonna change his bid to account for the encroachment.
And we have to let the land, the people that are associated with the encroachments, let them know that, yes, we are intending to take them back, because right now we have,
I thought we already did that.
no, we made the decision after the public hearing.
So
And
the
then,
encroachments are the islands like they were talking about in the meeting? Okay.
and right now we have vehicles on them for motorcycle weekend. I saw that today.
So I think what Mark Conley's concerned about is he's gonna lose parking spaces.
No, we're gonna
Sure,
gain
and then
parking
wasn't-
spaces.
Everybody's bringing cars.
No, the way he's parking where he is in the plan, the plan has restricted his parking. they were all going in, I believe, square, and you could fit more than the angled one that the plan had.
No one is losing parking spaces because we've made parking spaces all along the Route 3 side of that road where none exist.
And
I
where the
understand.
encroachments are, there's going to be probably 6 to 7 more spaces added to that area.
And directly in front of his facility, he will end up with less.
Who's he?
Mark,
Oh,
The
Lobster.
fish store, because you're going to angled and the way they've laid it out, it's,
Yeah, but we haven't even, with taking the encroachments, we'll have to look at
See,
the
that's
parking
the thing.
lane.
That's-
Part of the issue
You
is,
can't have one
do you,
unit down there dictate the whole project.
do you remember the public hearing where there were some that said that if it's in front of the condos, there's a lot of dissension because the condos feel that inside the condos, there's 3 parking spaces for each condo,
Yep.
3. And they want to be assigned on the outside as well. That's why they asked specifically at the public hearing. And so Mark is afraid that when we take that encroachment away, that condo folks are all gonna fill that in and he's not gonna have any space because we're gonna take that space
And
next to him
Catherine
away.
clearly said that that's a public right of way, it's just like on any street.
Yeah,
Right.
You can own it.
Public parking.
Right.
it's
So we
What we're
need to,
creating is
and I think that that's gonna come up, and we'll need to address it when it does come up, that the condo association does not have the right to
Nobody
keep.
has
Nobody has that,
right over
it's
any of these
everybody's.
One of the things that we need to think about is, we have a lot of vehicles and trailers, boat trailers, that park in those, and they take up 2.5 to 3 spaces sometimes. And we'll have to think about how we're going to deal with it.
no boat trailer parking.
Yeah, there's no boat launch from that site at all. The only boat launch is, I don't think they do on our side. I don't think
Jay's
they have.
Marina you can pay, but you gotta go in and out when they're open,
That's
which
right.
which restricts you, or you go to Winnisquam Marine is the
Right,
bigger
on
one.
the other side.
So where the state is
also
now, you
way
can't
up.
go in there anymore. You
I could
used,
take a
Like Slow Creek.
kayak
yeah,
and walk over there and drop it in the water.
okay.
Yeah, but
If
you
I
can't
have
go
a
trailer.
rowboat on a trailer that I've got to back up and launch, I cannot, and you've never been able to do.
Okay. So we need to put up signs there that say no trailer parking.
No, it's something we need to be
Yeah.
concerned about.
Are we gonna have another public meeting before the project after Labor Day?
We did tell them we would have another public hearing. I do remember that before the project.
So I think it would be really important to have Brock in next week to talk about this issue,
Okay,
because we need to,
further discussion next week, okay.
yeah, because we need to see if, what it's gonna take to, how much he can take away from that encroachment, so that we, and then go to the contractor that got the bid and see how much he can do, how much extra it's gonna cost us.
Will we not, didn't we are sure, and we're all together on this, that we will be taking the encroachments back in some form or another, whether it pave them, grass them, or whatever, but we are taking the encroachments back.
We're taking the
Everybody's-
property back.
Yeah.
So that has to be clear to everybody.
Do we know what those are? Do we have?
There's only 2
There's
parcels.
2.
There's only 2
pieces.
that have been really
Right.
encroached on.
Right.
The other property owners are using town property as though it was their own, but they don't have, you know, one's where the old post office used to be beside the store with them, you know. Yep, all-terrain vehicle shop.
Adrenaline motorsports.
Yeah, that's one. There used to be a flagpole there. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
there's
still
jet
is.
skis or
And then
something on there
the
now.
condo association is the other.
But they-
And I think in front, I think next door to that, isn't somewhere that mobile home, I don't know if it's still
That's part of
there.
Adrenaline. That's that
I
same
think
parcel.
that's all, there's an encroachment there, one on
Market,
Market.
their sign is in
Right,
Winnisquam Market.
So-
Park is now.
There,
So both
when is
those
it? So
yeah, there's really only 2, I think.
and the condos.
Joyce, do we have a digital
Anyway,
copy
we
of
are-
Verniers plan
It's our
for
property.
that?
We-
That
we're-
property.
So when I get out there, I can look to see compared to what's
We're not making
existing.
any exceptions.
Can you put it on the drive for us?
Yeah, I'll have
And
to
I'll
call
cover
them
it.
downstairs.
No problem.
All of them.
Whenever, this is
Yeah.
no rush. Thanks.
So we have things that we do agree on, that we are going to be taking back the encroachments, and that all of the parking spaces that we create on those encroachments are all going to be public parking spaces and not reserved for private.
Right.
Once we get a price for that add-on, you may be joking.
But but that would be, if they are developed or done, that's certain that we're, those two things.
With no closed trailer park.
Well, we haven't discussed that. I think it sounds like we're
Yeah.
all agreed, but we'll discuss that.
You know, we may say, all vehicles must be within lines.
Well, if you're in the time limit, that would eliminate your road trailer parking.
Or
And, you
not.
know, anything we do there is gonna have to have police enforcement. But unfortunately, we don't have that with our parking ordinances anyway. They're better, but
And it's going to be up to the residents to give a call. Well, that's the next.
so maybe that's one of the questions we can ask the business owners, what is the time duration? I mean, I see an hour.
That they were more toward
Maximum.
Mark, I
I think
think-
too,
Mark,
because if Mark gets really busy, sometimes you're waiting 45 minutes to get served with the line.
So make it 90.
Yeah, well, yeah,
90.
yeah, that'd be better.
Okay.
All right,
We'll talk about that.
We're thinking between, we're already at between 1 and 2 hours, or somewhere in there.
I know, but after we discussed.
We can go close.
I wanted an
Think
FYI
with
on the
between 1 and
sidewalks
2 hours.
doing up in,
So we reach the minutes, and it's roughly
Yep.
that timeline.
That's what was
And
discussed.
they can,
It's nice.
they can
Thanks
come
for
back
that.
to us.
It's a nice issue.
We're narrowing it down.
there's no electrical posts on the side. Are we doing selectmen's report?
Oh, yeah.
Public input?
Encroachments, public input.
Are we doing select
Okay,
report?
one at a time, please.
Selectmen's reports, I have something.
I just couldn't help myself.
Wait, want me, public?
I have two things.
I have 3 things for selectmen's.
Okay. This way, this time, and that time.
Okay, one thing is, this is sort of kind of an FYI and a question at the same time. I remember last week we talked about Eversource in replacing the telephone poles or electrical poles. Are they replacing any on sidewalks?
No, this is the big corridor, School Street heading over to the dam and all.
So they're not replacing any in the sidewalks at all?
These are the big metal ones.
Big lines.
If you drive up past Waterloo's Farm, you can see one of the new ones they've set.
I noticed coming back from Laconia today that they're replacing all of the poles coming down on Laconia Road downtown, and they've replaced them with much larger poles, and they replace them 2 feet behind the existing one, which is almost in the middle of the sidewalk. So if they do that to us, you're not going to get a multi one, and you're not going to get a sidewalk machine up the road. And it's really a noticeable difference.
I would suspect that they would notify the town before they.
So
do
the
that.
Cafe Deja Vu, all in that area by Court Street, just before you get to Court Street,
That's not important.
you, wheelchair, they have to go around up on someone's grass in order to get there because you don't have the space now. It's at
Why does
least,
the city allow that?
I don't know how they would allow that, but it's really a lot of space to take up in your sidewalk. So let's be careful if they decide that they're going to start changing the poles down here. The other thing is, I sent you all tonight, just before I got here, pictures. Cecile Robert called me, and way back when Dave Wadley was Public Works, there was a post that was put in on the corner of her driveway in the municipal parking, right where the end of the guardrail ends, down on her, by where her garage is.
Are we talking on the school street side or the parking lot side? By the fire
Parking lot
department?
side, down by the fire station.
The fire department end.
Right, so where her driveway ends, there's a post,
We put a bollard in.
okay? It's rusted and it's broken at the bottom. I mean, it's just broken so that it just kind of just goes like this.
What's the length? I remember why.
And you can see that it's just broken right off. She would like it to come out. There's, it's about 2 feet, like from here to here, from the guardrail. It doesn't look like it's a delineation for property boundary at all. It's about a 2.5-inch pipe.
Signpost.
It looked like an old signpost, but it's probably about 4 feet high, 5 feet high. She would like it to come out because it's completely, it's,
That's before my time, that's not what I'm thinking of. So that she believes the municipality put it in?
oh, she knows Dave Wadley put it in. She's absolutely sure that Dave Wadley put it in. Oh, she's
Why
like-
did we put it, so what purpose did it serve the town? Because,
Well, right now, that's gonna break off at the bottom, and it's just gonna be a sharp pipe for
that's
anyone
not my
that,
question. My question is,
oh,
how do we have the town put it in?
well, she's lived there umpteen million years, and she actually worked with Dave on putting it in. It was so that the plow didn't, so that the plow could see where the driveway came
You
in.
know, I got a feeling it's probably put in designated parking lot or something. Probably some kind of sign like you saw. So she'd just like us to take it out?
If we could.
I don't know.
Get her down.
Have somebody get cut the municipal law. Safety issue.
This is on the other side, that's where we park here, this side.
See the guardrail right here? It's down, the fire station's over here. So,
Probably signs it, not in there.
it was, that's gotta be years
She's
ago.
got a no parking, she has some sign here.
Well, there's a municipal sign on the other side by the school street, up there. And then there's another sign that says town parking or something to that effect on the, by the guardrail in the bushes, yeah. But that's about 3 feet up from there. Okay, that's that. The other thing is, I was asked today by Matt Dawson, actually I had to call him because I'm getting calls because they're doing a police fundraiser, and I'm getting calls by residents to see if it's a true fundraiser for the police. You know, they do an annual thing, and annually we get the same calls by the same people. So it's a fundraiser for movie night in the seniors baskets that they do, and also the scholarships that they provide. So when talking with Matt, he said, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to have movie night or not because we don't have a lot of help trying to set it up. So we'll work on getting them help trying to set it up. But one of the questions were, it would help them a lot instead of having the scaffolding that they had in all of the work that it took them to set up the theater, the movie theater itself. He would like to see if somebody would donate the scissor lift, and if the parks would allow them to drive the scissor lift, you know what I'm talking
I
about,
know what you're talking
the
about.
lift on the sidewalk going into the park, on the, you know, the sidewalk going in, and then where it is going, where they actually put it up, going up, back, and driving it so that it would actually work behind where the playground is, down in that area, is where they put it up.
I don't know where they put it up.
So could you ask I told her that I told them I would ask Peter and you to see if that would be appropriate.
They're not
Because-
meeting again until the second Monday of July.
We just met, and one of our questions is, what's the status? Because last year we did June, July, August, and June's going to be over pretty soon, and we haven't heard anything
Well,
also.
that's what's holding it up right now is
For a month.
because it used to be Steve that did all of the running around and getting all of this done. Steve's not around, so and Matt can't do it by himself. It used to be Steve and Matt and a couple of others, and Matt's trying to do this by himself. This would help out a great deal because he can just get in it and go up and do it and not have to erect the scaffolding and then go up and do it, and then move the scaffolding and then go up and do the other side.
It's all ledge packed to where they want to go,
Yeah,
As long as they stay on the,
as long as they
Ledge
stay
pack.
off the grass and out of the gardens, and, and they stay on the ledge pack, but it's up to the park commissioners, like I said, they won't meet for, it's a month, right?
Yeah.
Not meeting for another month. Maybe we could ask, I guess we could ask Bob Hardy to call a special meeting, just to discuss this.
all right, you want to try to do
Let
that
me know.
and let Matt know?
that and the granite, we still put stuff in.
Gotta get that
But,
done.
well, there's a-
Okay.
Make it,
And last but not least, but the highway department went up and fixed the railing that I showed you the last time that was at the senior center that was on the bottom, that was not secured on the railing. So they did a terrific job, so thank you to the highway department for doing that. All nice and secured and safe. So Don Schimberg said they may have some people that are going to come up and paint it. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Peter?
She covered it with me.
Good. The only thing I have is, I've noticed around town a lot of those, I think I mentioned to Joyce, repair signs. They've been going everywhere. And then there's a couple other things that are starting to pop up. And I did contact Joyce to give land use or code enforcement a heads up.
I was told that the code enforcement officer has a form on the website for any complaints that can be filled in, so, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go there, fill it in,
Let me
when you get
go
to
back
it.
a bit. Our code enforcement should have noticed that there's non-conforming signs every quarter mile up and down Route 3 and done something about it. And like, without a resident have to say, hey, did you see the sign?
I have to be honest, I don't know if they are, because they changed when did they change the sign
They did.
ordinance? This year or last year?
Well, there's something in, and I can't quote, about a year and a half ago, there was something that was changed, and it was when there was a lot of Paris mails showing up that it was, we couldn't take them, we went to the code enforcement officer and then we couldn't take them down. We could not take them down because suddenly they became legal.
Was it those, or was it the feather flags down here at the
Both.
gold
Yeah, I
place?
don't know, I
thought
have
it was
to read
just the
the
feather.
ordinance. I know it changed, if it wasn't this year, it was last year, they went back to
We
the
did
previous
the
ordinance.
ordinance, and the ordinance, we
But
don't
I don't-
allow off-site advertising for businesses, but I think it was,
No, we
the
changed the
political signs.
ordinance. We didn't just change some items in it. It was changed to go back to the ordinance previous to the one that existed. That's what we did.
can we
But-
either,
I would let him know, and he'll tell you. But, you make a good point.
you know, if it's a problem, can we get a legal ruling or from the state on whether or
So
not?
is it legal or not legal? Do we know?
Dari is a very good resource for translating these things. I would go directly to Dory, because after all,
And if
he is
not-
the department head. And I'll let him
And
Tell
if
us.
not, you can call up the
look at government.
legal aid.
Yeah, local government.
But if it's in like the Route 3 corridor, that's out of our jurisdiction, right? That's DOT. It's their
Well,
right
there's-
of way.
There's some on Sherwood Drive, there's some,
Well, those, I know the signs he's talking about, they're not just on Route 3.
No, I know,
I don't
they're-
know about the Route 3 corridor. I think the state governs that right of way, if you will.
We had
But
some
the
that
minute
do
they
for-
go, I do
Yeah.
know that the minute the signs go on, like say the other side of the guardrail where Hobby Lobby is,
Mhm.
they're no longer in the Route 3 corridor. And at
Right.
one time, those were illegal. Once they get onto private property, because it's off-site advertising, because it's not advertising that property, then they were illegal. There was something there, just, you know. But Dari, he's
They
the
were
guy-
all around the Civil War monument the other day.
Did anybody take them down? Thank you.
Yep.
I took one out of Riverfront Park.
That's desecration.
Yeah, there was one in Riverfront Park I was a little disturbed about. But I think Dari would be the best place to start.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Let's start at the top of my list. So, I ended up in an odyssey. Thank you, John Scanlon. When you asked me to check on the trash that was going from Walmart. Hello, microphone. Can I take you with me? Take you with me. While I was checking that, I decided to go down and check Ice House Pond, the little dirt drive that brings you down in there. And lo and behold, when I went down in there, we had yet again another individual who decided that that would be a good place to live.
it's a beautiful waterfront.
It is, it's so nice.
Are we taxing him?
So peaceful. I don't know if you can see it in this picture. I think you can. If you look close, you'll see a dog face in the right-hand picture looking out at you. I did call the police. I thought twice about knocking on the door myself. And Sergeant Morrison came right down, and he was excellent. He, you know, just got the facts and very professionally, nicely told the gentleman couldn't be here and had to leave, and he did leave. There also was a pile of garbage down there. If I'd had a different vehicle, I'd have picked it up, but I didn't. There is a gate. You'll see it in the picture. So you drive about halfway down, and there's this gate. And for me, it's just a random gate. If you drove through the gate, you'd end up in this little swamp. So I, for the life of me, can't figure out why that gate was put there. I sent a letter off to Infinity Sherwood Properties in Boston, asking them if they would give us permission to move the gate up closer to the entrance and to put up signage, because the conservation papers on this property are very strict. They're very binding. We can't put up any signs without permission. We can't do anything without permission. It isn't even open for public people to walk upon, unfortunately. I was there in my role as health officer, so that gives me the right to check on those waters. But I received a phone call yesterday from Bert Shine from Infinity Sherwood, and thanking the town for, you know, their due diligence and taking care of the property, and did say yes, that we could move the gate and we could put up signage at that entrance. I asked him to send that in the form of a letter, so we'd have that hard copy. So that's coming. What I'm asking the Board of Selectmen is it all right with you if I pass that on to Brock and ask them to move the gate up? We'll have to figure out what type of signage we want there. I usually let the police tell me, because they're going to be the enforcement authority. So I have them choose the language. If that's all right with you, I will do that, and then bring it to you to review.
So there's easement on it, conservation easement?
There's a conservation easement, that's lot 2. I don't know if I brought that with me. No, it's up in my folder. So there's 3 pieces of property. That's lot 2, and I can't think of the other 2 lots. They're further down.
Further down.
One is behind.
Where
It's
the
like,
road used to be or something.
yeah, there's like small lot 5 and lot 5, and then there's lot 2. This is lot 2. They all have the same conservation easement. I just think it's a shame that this particular property could not be enjoyed by people just wanting to sit beside that pond, and, you know, if there's geese on the pond.
For a long time, there were picnic tables down there.
Right now, there's a very, very old wooden bench.
What's left of that.
I don't know as I'd sit on it, but it is there.
You know, and my thoughts are, it's nice to have a place that people can walk down to if we can allow that.
Well, I think that's something, right now, it doesn't say that the Conservation Commission is stewards of the land, it's the town of Tilton. But I don't see why the Conservation Commission couldn't approach them and see if they can barter a little different deal. Because it really is beautiful, it's so quiet down there. I mean,
Is the township safety issue?
I don't know.
It's, I'll pick up.
I wouldn't sit on it because I
Any
didn't want slivers.
I think any man-made debris should be down there.
Yeah. I'll ask, I did call up Public Works as health officer, and because I couldn't pick it up, and ask them sometime in the future when you're going by, could you please pick that up? Normally I do it because it saves them from the trip, but I didn't own it in that particular vehicle I had.
Seems subject to Walmart, seems to be picking up their, because I noticed now that stuff from the pallets are going across the street.
I talked to a couple of people in Walmart, I really need to talk to the store manager, but they were very receptive and, you know, telling me that they do police their parking lot. They can't control people throwing things out of their cars, but they, so I really think I need to talk to the manager directly, but they,
Stuff that already blew across the parking lot, blew into the,
yeah. So, the other, one of the other things I have, the porta potty for the island, has anybody ordered that from Byron's? Are we getting a second, no, let me back up. Are we getting a second porta potty for the island?
Yes.
And has anybody ordered that from Byron's?
In fact, I thought Gail had ordered it a long time ago. Yes, when we put, you remember the woman? Yeah, you did. The woman called when Lee put up the platform, and you said you better, Lee talked with them, and we said we better order it, and we said,
Yeah.
go ahead. Lee was standing right there, we said, yes, go ahead and order it right now.
I sent an email off to Byron's when
Because they said they were running out.
I sent an email off to Byron's just in case, because I was reviewing the dates for when the park commissioners' porta potties are delivered, and saw the island, and thought, oh, I remember. And I just sent it off. I believe there will be a second porta potty required for the island. Has anybody contacted you? So my question is, what size is it? Is it going to be a standard or another ADA?
Standard, I think.
Standard, we wanted it standard and a handicap.
I don't think we can fit 2 big ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if she contacts me,
They built the platform for a standard and a handicap.
okay, in the meantime, then I'll know what to tell her she calls me, because she has my cell. The railroad track by the water district. Years ago, there was a road that came through from Main Street and went up to Academy Street. Many moons ago, when Rick Manso was still a selectman, the New Hampshire DOT Bureau of Rails wanted us to pay for a crossing there. So rather than pay for the crossing, we installed bollards and discontinued the crossing. I believe there is 1 bollard left. I found,
Where is this now?
Driveway.
Oh, going across.
if you go
Got
down
it.
into the,
Yep, I know where the tree is.
right, if you
Yep.
come in from the water district, there's 1 bollard. I
Mhm.
found where one used to be, and I think I found that there was a third, maybe not. But the reason I noticed it too was because it looks like somebody's making it so you can cross there. Somebody's put dirt and stones and brought them up to the level of the tracks. I don't know what's going on. I know they're doing work there, the Bureau of Rails, but anyway, we should ask Brock to put the missing bollard back, so it's obvious that we've discontinued that. And if the other one needs to be replaced, it should be.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there for at least, I'm gonna say 17 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Vote with your feet.
So moved.
Vote with your feet. There you go, Joe.